All right, so today we're diving deep into the world of audiobooks.
Yeah.
Specifically, we're exploring how to create audiobooks and sell them on Audible.
Okay.
This is a guide by Molalla Media Publications.
Cool.
And this deep dive is going to be great for authors and content creators, really anyone who is curious about the behind-the-scenes magic of audiobook production.
It's a fascinating world, especially right now, because the audiobook market is absolutely booming.
It is.
In 2021 alone in the US, it grew by 16%.
Wow.
That's not just a trend, it's
Sure.
a cultural shift in how we consume content these days.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right?
Totally.
You can listen while you're doing, other things.
Yeah.
Chores, driving, exercising.
I listen to most of my books while I walk the dog.
Yeah, it's the perfect way to multitask, really.
Definitely.
But creating a really high-quality audiobook.
Yeah.
It's not just as simple as reading your book out loud.
You're telling me there's so much that goes into professional production.
So let's break it down.
Right.
What are some of the key elements involved?
Well, the first thing you need is professional recording equipment.
Okay.
And a quiet space to record in.
So a noise-free environment.
Yeah, crystal clear audio is non-negotiable for listeners.
Yeah.
Right.
Makes sense.
Nobody wants to be distracted by background noise.
Right, like a hiss or traffic or something.
Exactly.
You want to really draw the listener into the story.
Yes, 100%.
Now, what about the narration itself?
Well, voiceover casting is a huge part of it.
Okay.
I mean, imagine a thriller, but it's narrated in a really soft, soothing voice.
It just wouldn't work, would it?
No.
Huh.
The right voice sets the tone, evokes emotions. It helps listeners distinguish between characters.
Yeah, it's like casting an actor for a film role.
It is.
You need the right person to embody the character.
Exactly.
Now, I noticed that Molalla Media seems to really understand this.
Oh, yeah, they do.
They offer a diverse range of voiceover artists.
Yeah, they have people specializing in, different genres and accents, even multiple languages.
Wow, so authors have a lot of options to choose from.
Definitely. It's all about finding the perfect match for the book.
And speaking of matching, let's talk about script editing.
Ah, yes, that's another key element.
Because something that reads well on the page doesn't always sound good in audio format, right?
Yeah, you might need to tweak the phrasing or the punctuation to make it flow smoothly when spoken out loud.
I see.
And sometimes there are words that look fine on paper but are difficult to pronounce.
I can imagine.
And you wouldn't want the narrator to stumble over them.
Right, it would disrupt the flow of the listening experience.
Exactly.
Now, I was really impressed by the guide's emphasis on Molalla Media's attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
They seem very thorough in making sure that the phrasing is smooth and the pronunciation is clear.
Yeah, those small tweaks make a big difference.
They really do.
For the listener, I mean.
Absolutely. Wow. So how does this all come together in practice?
Right.
What's the typical process for actually creating an audiobook?
Okay, so it all starts with an initial consultation between the author and the production team.
Okay.
This is where they discuss the author's vision for the audiobook and what they hope to achieve.
So making sure that everybody is on the same page from the beginning.
Exactly. It's a very collaborative process.
Got it.
Then comes the manuscript preparation stage.
Right.
This is where the text is formatted for audio,
Okay.
and any adjustments are made to ensure that the narration will be smooth.
So getting the manuscript ready for its audio debut,
Yes,
and
exactly.
then comes the really exciting part, the voiceover selection.
Oh, yeah, that's a fun one.
So how does that work?
Well, typically, the author will listen to demos from a variety of potential narrators,
Okay.
and they can choose their preferences for accents and voice pacing.
I see. So it's all about finding the voice that best fits the story.
Exactly.
Now, I'm curious, have you ever been involved in this voiceover selection process?
I have, yeah, a couple of times.
What was that experience like?
It's always so interesting to hear how different narrators can bring the same text to life in completely different ways.
I bet.
Like, one narrator might give a character a really warm and friendly voice, while another might make them sound more authoritative and serious.
It must be fascinating to hear those different interpretations.
Yeah, it really is.
And I'm sure our listeners would love to hear more about your experiences with that.
I'm happy to share more.
So once the narrator is chosen, what happens next?
Well, then they'll start recording the manuscript.
Okay.
Usually in segments, to make it easier to manage.
Right, like filming a movie, scene by scene.
Yeah, exactly.
Building the audiobook piece by piece.
Exactly.
So what happens after all the recording is finished?
That's when we move into the mastering and final editing stage.
Sure.
This involves cleaning up the audio, removing any unwanted noises or breaths,
Okay,
and sometimes adding in sound effects if it's appropriate for the book.
I see.
And of course, ensuring that everything meets Audible's technical standards.
So making sure it's polished and ready for distribution. So
Exactly.
polishing a gem to bring out its brilliance.
I love that analogy.
And then finally, the finished audiobook is uploaded and distributed to platforms like Audible and iTunes.
Yep. And then it's out there for the world to enjoy.
So for authors who are just starting to think about creating an audiobook,
Yeah.
what are some of the key takeaways from this initial stage of production?
I think the biggest one is understanding the importance of professional audio production.
Right, it's not just about reading into a microphone.
Exactly. It's about creating an immersive and high-quality listening experience for the audience.
And that requires expertise and attention to detail.
Absolutely.
And secondly, I think the power of voiceover casting can't be overstated.
Yeah, I mean, the right narrator can make or break an audiobook.
Totally. They're the ones who bring the story to life for the listeners.
Exactly.
So before we move on to the next stage of the process,
Okay.
I'd love to hear from our listeners.
Yeah.
What has stood out to you so far in this audiobook creation process?
Yeah, is there anything that surprised you or that you find particularly interesting?
Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.
We'd love to know what you're thinking.
Definitely.
All right, so moving on. So it's really fascinating how just one voice can take a written story and turn it into this captivating audio experience.
Yeah, it's true.
You know?
A good narrator can pull you right in, make you feel like you're right there in the middle of everything.
Totally.
But beyond, like pronunciation and pacing,
Right.
what else makes a truly immersive narration?
Well, I think it comes down to capturing the essence of the characters,
Okay.
their emotions, the subtle ways they interact with each other.
Yeah.
A good narrator, they become like chameleons, embodying each personality and breathing life into the dialogue.
Almost like they're acting, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Conveying emotion through, their voice and tone.
Right.
And I imagine that's where genre specialization comes in.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a narrator who is amazing at romance
Yeah,
might not be the best fit for a, like a crime thriller.
exactly. Different genres demand different styles.
And Molala Media seems to have this all figured out.
Yeah, they do.
They offer a diverse range of narrators with expertise in all sorts of genres.
Yeah, fantasy, sci-fi, memoirs, self-help, you name it.
So authors can find the perfect voice to match their work.
Exactly. It's all about finding the right fit.
And that brings us to another important aspect, the financial potential of audiobooks.
Right.
We touched upon it earlier, but let's dig a little deeper.
Okay.
How can authors generate income from their audiobooks?
So platforms like Audible and iTunes,
Yeah.
they have royalty systems in place.
Okay.
So every time somebody buys or downloads your audiobook,
Yeah.
you earn a percentage of that sale.
So it's not just a one-time payment.
No, not at all.
It's an ongoing stream of potential income.
Yeah, kind of like royalties from print books.
Exactly. And I think what's cool about audiobooks is their longevity.
Totally.
Even years after publication,
Yeah,
people can still find your book
absolutely.
and enjoy it in audio format.
Yeah, it's like having a backlist that keeps earning for you.
Exactly. Expanding your reach, introducing your work to new audiences.
And it's not just about the financial gain.
Right.
It's about reaching a global audience, transcending geographical boundaries.
I mean, someone in Japan could listen to a story written by an author in Argentina,
Exactly.
connecting with their words, experiencing their world.
And it's also a great way to make books accessible to people with disabilities.
Oh, that's an important point.
For people with visual impairments or who struggle with traditional reading,
Yeah.
audiobooks can be a real lifeline.
Yeah, offering a different way to engage with the text,
Absolutely.
making stories and knowledge accessible to a wider range of people.
So before we move on, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the impact of audiobooks?
Have they changed the way you consume books or expanded your literary horizons?
Share your experiences in the comments below. We're really interested to hear from you.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to see how audiobooks are impacting our listeners.
All right, so let's shift our focus back to Malala Media
Okay.
and their specific approach to audiobook production.
What makes them stand out in such a competitive industry?
Well, one thing that's really great is their commitment to accessible pricing.
Yeah.
They try to make audiobook production affordable for all authors, regardless of their budget.
That's really important, especially for new authors who are just starting out.
Definitely. And they also offer a really comprehensive suite of services.
Like what?
They handle everything from the initial consultation and manuscript prep to voiceover casting, recording, editing, and distribution.
Wow, so it's like a one-stop shop for authors,
It is, yeah.
streamlining the entire process.
Takes a lot of the stress and hassle out of it.
So authors can focus on what they do best, which is writing.
Exactly, and throughout the whole process, they prioritize quality.
Okay.
They use professional equipment, experienced sound engineers,
Yeah.
and they have a really meticulous attention to detail.
It's all about creating a truly immersive and enjoyable listening experience for the audience,
You got it.
transforming written words into captivating audio narratives.
Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting time to be a part of this world.
It really is, and I can only imagine,
Yeah.
with technology constantly advancing,
Right.
we're going to see even more innovative approaches to audiobook production.
Oh, for sure, and distribution.
Like, what kind of things do you envision for the future of audiobooks?
I think we'll see more immersive audio experiences, incorporating sound effects and music, maybe even interactive elements.
That's a cool thought.
Like imagine audiobooks that adapt to your mood or your preferences.
Wow, that would be amazing.
Right. A truly personalized listening experience.
The possibilities are pretty much endless.
They are.
But before we get too carried away, I'm curious about your current experiences.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite audiobooks?
What makes the narration so captivating for you?
Share your recommendations and your insights with us?
Yeah, we'd love to hear what you're listening to.
Yeah, it really is amazing to think about how far audiobooks have come
Right.
and all the incredible potential they have going forward.
From, kind of humble beginnings
Right.
to this global phenomenon they are today.
Yeah, they've totally revolutionized the way we experience stories.
For sure.
And it's all thanks to the power of the human voice.
Yeah.
The artistry of narration and the hard work of companies like Malala Media.
Absolutely. They really are dedicated to creating these high-quality listening experiences.
Yeah, they get it,
They do.
It's not just about reading words out loud.
Right.
It's about bringing those words to life.
Yeah, giving them emotion,
Yeah.
creating an immersive experience.
An immersive journey for the listener. Yeah, and that journey, it can take us to different worlds, right?
It can.
Introduce us to new characters and leave a lasting impact.
And it's not just about, escaping reality.
Right.
Audiobooks can teach us things,
Yeah.
inspire us,
Yeah.
help us to understand ourselves and the world around us a little better.
Yeah, and I think what's important, too, is that they make knowledge accessible to everybody,
Exactly.
regardless of, their reading ability or physical limitations.
That's right. It levels the playing field.
Definitely.
And as technology keeps developing, I think we're going to see even more innovation in how audiobooks are made and how people listen to them.
Yeah, we've already talked about immersive experiences with sound effects and interactive elements.
Yeah.
But what other advancements do you see happening in the future?
Well, I think AI is going to play a huge role.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Imagine AI narrators that could perfectly copy any voice or accent.
Wow.
It would open up so many possibilities for storytelling.
Yeah, it would also make audiobook production way more accessible
Exactly.
for authors who, might not have the budget to hire a professional voice actor.
Yeah, it would be a game changer.
Definitely. And I could also see audiobooks becoming even more personalized in the future.
How so?
Like adapting to the listener's preferences, their mood,
Oh, okay, yeah.
even their reading speed.
It's like having a listening experience that's specifically designed for you.
Exactly. Tailored just for you.
Yeah, the possibilities are truly endless.
They are.
It's really exciting to think about.
It is. It's a testament to the power of storytelling
Yeah,
and how human creativity just keeps pushing the boundaries.
and finding new ways to connect with people.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of audiobooks,
Okay.
we want to leave you with one final thought.
All right.
Think about the stories that have really moved you,
Mm,
the characters that have stayed with you long after you finish listening.
the ones you can't forget.
Exactly. And consider the power that you have as a listener,
Yeah.
as a reader, and maybe even as a future audiobook creator.
That's right. Everyone has a story to tell.
Your voice, your story, your perspective.
It all matters.
It has the potential to really touch other people's lives.
So keep exploring, keep listening.
Keep sharing the magic of audiobooks with the world.
That's what it's all about.
Until next time, happy listening.
Happy listening, everyone.